This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, great. All right, welcome everybody. This is week 8. So next week is spring break. There is no class and college will be closed. So it's also midterm grades are due. So if you want anything included in your midterm grade, get it to me this week, today or tomorrow. And I'll probably do some grading this weekend. And then I think the grades are up now. So I'll probably be submitting grades over the break, maybe the following week. But the midterm grade will be a progress report of where you are in the class. Have you turned stuff in? Are you behind? Are you on time? Are you on, are you on track to finish everything? If so, you'll have a good grade. If you're behind, then the grade will reflect how far you're behind. If a couple weeks behind or a month behind, or if you haven't turned anything in at all, then you'll know based on the grade. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a little small game, video game, using a tool that we use in our game design program. It's a pretty cool tool. All of your games will look similar. You'll have some choice in how they look, but they'll look pretty similar. And you'll be creating like a game terrain with hills and plains and grass and trees, and you'll have some buildings that you'll put out there. And I'll send you the link to other things you can add to your game. This is going to be like a game environment, and then you'll have a player that will walk around this environment that you create. The player won't actually do anything; they'll just explore this world that you're going to create. So to accompany this world, you're going to create a soundtrack and a soundtrack of music that goes along with your game. It should probably be about 2 minutes. It can be a little longer if you want, and then you can loop it too. So we could use anything we wanted for the game, but I think it'd be fun to create our own game soundtrack. So what I want to show you today is a tool that's driven with a lot of AI for creating your own music. And you can kind of decide what kind of music that you want it to be. You can choose a genre, you can choose the instruments, you can choose the tempo, you can choose the key. I recommend just choosing like some kind of emotion that you want to elicit and go with that. So the name of the tool is SoundTrap, and the website is here. Let me show you. Let me first share my screen here. Okay, so it's soundtrap.com. I'll put it in the chat as well. And I've already logged in, so when you log in, this is what you'll see. But let me actually log out so I can show you what it will look like. Oh, let me also put it in the chat, the URL. Okay, so go to there, and what it'll ask you to do is to get a code or a key that I'm going to give you right now. And let's exit out of here. Okay. So I think it'll take you to here. See if that, okay, it'll take you to here. And then what you want to do is you want to, I think, get started for free. And you're going to do educational use. And you're going to put in this invite code. Okay. Copy it in the, okay, it's this one here. 7A, 4B, and 2A. And you'll click on that and get started. And it will take you to the welcome to the College of Marin. You're going to be going to the default group, and you're going to say, no, I'm new here. And you'll just kind of do a login with your email and your MyCom portal email and come up with a password. I think that after you do this code, you don't need that code anymore. So go ahead and log in, and that'll get you to the screen that I'm going to demonstrate today. in terms of how to use this tool to create a music soundtrack for your game environment that you're gonna build come after spring break. All right, so this is what it will look like, something pretty similar to this. And what you'll want to do is click on projects, and you want to do, by the way, there's some videos here if you want to learn more about the tool. You won't really need them because I'm going to cover whatever you need. So let's see, I want to projects. I want to create a new project, and I don't want to do an assignment. So let's do add a folder. So this is different. Maybe create an assignment. You know, when I was in there earlier, I hadn't yet done a teacher account. So I have a teacher account, and enter studio. That's what you want right here, enter studio. Okay, so you want to enter the studio, and there's different parts to the studio. You can do a podcast. We're going to do music, new project. You can click on demos if you want to hear some demos. Okay, so you can browse for loops. You can do a pattern. You can play a synthesizer. You can add a track, or you can actually import a file from another program and work on it here. You can also invite friends to collaborate with you on this project. So we're just going to do, first we're going to do Patterns Beatmaker. Okay, and one way you can start your soundtrack is to do a rhythm, to do the beat first. So these are measures. So the first measure, second measure, third measure, fourth measure. Okay, most modern music is composed of four beats per measure, right? And so this is divided into many more beats. But if you just wanted to do a standard beat, you would do a kick on the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. Okay, the first beat of that measure. Okay, and then you do a snare. Let's say every other one, like this. Okay, so there's notice it comes in groups of 4. So something like this. And then if you play it back. I'm not sure you can hear that. You can't hear that, right?
I cannot hear it.
Yeah, let me reshare, and this time make sure that I click on the button that says share audio. It didn't ask me, so why isn't it sharing audio? That's weird. Weird. It usually asks me here if I want to share audio.
Could you hear
Oh,
it?
there it is. Yeah, it is. Share sound. I can hear it. Okay, now you'll be able to hear it. Okay, so if I play this back, you can now hear it. Let's rewind it.
Yeah, I heard it. Mm-hmm.
So this will make a beat for you. And there's different ways to do this. So one way to do it is to do on the hi-hat, all the notes. You can also loop this if you want. So play this back. Okay. So basically play around with this. You can also take out, those were a lot of notes. So you can take out every other one if you want. And play this back. Okay. And you can also cycle it where it just repeats. I'm not sure why it keeps going up to 7 and 8. I guess it gives you 8. Most music comes in patterns of 4. Most of the music that you're used to, Western music. So with most beats, it's going to either be on the 2 and the 4 or the 1 and the 3. So you can kind of fill out a pattern here to create your own beats, and you can make them as sophisticated as possible. Notice if I just kind of randomly click boxes here, it's going to give me a really irregular kind of weird pattern. I'm not sure why it. Yeah, I guess you got to do all 8. It used to be if you just did 4 of them. But if I'm randomly clicking on these, it's probably going to give you something that isn't going to be that enjoyable. Okay, so let's rewind that. Okay, you can see that it's randomly choosing the notes is going to give you chaos. Whereas if you kind of go in and do a pattern, like I'm going to do the kick drum on the first measure, the first beat of each measure here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 beats. Typical rock music will play a snare on the 2 and the 4, right? So the snare on the 2 and the 4, 2 and the 4. So you can notice that if you do a pattern, it just sounds a lot better. So I recommend that you just play around with this. It's a beat maker. So that's one way to start your composition is with a beat. And you can do it as simple or as complex as you want. You also have, see, is there a way to clear all this? They've changed this a little bit since I last used it last year. There's also a follow beat section, but I think there's a way to remove everything really quickly if you wanted just to. There should be. Oh, that's a click track for. I'm not sure if the only way is to click on these again. That's kind of. Notice you can also add different drums here to give quite sophisticated beats. So if you wanted to start with a real simple beat, so I just showed you that you don't want to do it random because that'll give you this chaos. But standard kind of, I'm a drummer, so this is what we kind of do, is standard beats for rock music are typically going to be, the hi-hat is going to be very consistent, maybe every other beat, right? Just alternate that every other one. And then the snare and the kick would alternate. So you would do this maybe on the, like this. Okay, so that's kind of a standard pattern, that one right there. Oh, sorry, let's rewind this. That's a little bit fast, huh? So let's remove these and remove these and do every other one. But typically, you do a pattern like this where the snare is on the fourth, every fourth one, okay? And the bass drum would be on the first one, and get something like this. And then notice that the hi-hat is going to give you a very consistent every other one. Okay, so that's one way to do it. If you really kind of want to do like a rap beat and you want to do something that's different, you can start with the beat. And then notice that up here is a track area, right? And so my beat that I created is here, okay? And you'll notice that even though I didn't use all this stuff here, there's a big blank area up here. So I think a faster way to do this is to delete this and then take this beat right here. That's one measure. And just duplicate it, right? And the way you duplicate it is there's a little circle there and you just drag it out like that. And you drag this one out like that. And notice now you'll have a consistent beat across these 8 measures here. Okay, so let's say that you didn't want to do the tedious way of doing a beat maker. So I just delete it. And then I'm going to go over here to loops in one shot. So I'm going to click on the little icon of the note, the musical note. And you'll notice that I have a drum. So these are called loops, and I have some drums here. And there's an examples of the drums, and I can click on it to listen to it. So these are simple ones. You can start with one of these. And the way these work is, let's say you like that one, Camden Rain. I drag it onto here. And there it is. And I can even mix other ones. So I have multiple drum rhythms going on at the same time. Okay. So typically you'll start with the drums. You don't have to, but you can either do it with the beat maker, or you can do it by clicking on the drums here in the loop library. And then find ones that you like and drag them onto here. So now I have 3 of them. Okay. So I have 3 beats that I'm running. And you don't have to start them all at the same time. And you can also make these longer or shorter because they just repeat. So a typical pattern would be start off with one, add a second one, and then do a third one, maybe like so. This is called the playback head, so you can rewind that and play it. First one starts, second one comes in, now the third one. So you can very quickly get some interesting rhythmic ideas. But the idea would be to lay down the rhythm for the main song. So usually the bass and the drums go first. That's one way to start. So I'm going to go to bass. And then down here it says can't find what you're looking for. You can create your own using virtual instruments. So I won't get into that, but you can always do that if you want. So let's just turn off the bass drums and just do bass. Okay. Those were bass drums that were more like a drum and a bass. Now I'm just going to get something that's bass, right? And I can sample them. And notice how many there are. There are just hundreds. Okay, now you'll notice that this one has a bounce 1, a bounce 2, a bounce 3, and a bounce 4, and a bounce 5. And actually a bounce 6. So these can kind of go together to create a single song, right? Okay, so I'm going to take this one, drag it out, right? And then I'm going to take 2 and drag it out. Okay. And then down here, there's some zoom in and outs. Okay, I'm going to take 3, drag it out. And maybe do another. I can also copy these, right? And let's do a paste right here. So I've got a wah, bright wah 1, bright wah 2, bright wah 3, bright wah 1 again. So let's listen to how this sounds. And you'll see that these match. They're not identical, but they match. All right, so they're patterns that kind of go together. So there's quite a lot of these that you'll notice that there's buzz 3, buzz 4. So you may want to choose ones that have multiple patterns or multiple measures, so it doesn't get repetitive. The one challenge you're going to run into is you don't want it to be too chaotic, but you don't want it to be too repetitive. So I think what you want to start with is just listen to some of these. Okay, and that's one way to start, is with the bass and the drums. Lay down your rhythm, and then I'm going to pause the recording and then give you guys a little chance to, or if you're watching this, pause the recording, play around with some of these bass drum tracks. Okay, that's one way to get started with your composition. You don't have to, but this is one way. And then after you've kind of laid down, and notice again, you can copy these. I'm going to right click, copy, and paste it in at the playback head, wherever the playback head is. Okay, paste it, paste it. So I can repeat these. Can also use the loop here, or I can also find additional drum parts. And you can do as many layers as you want. If you do a lot of layers, it gets pretty complicated, and it might take longer than I'm intending for this to take. So the idea is to create a soundtrack for your game, for your environment that you're going to create when we come back from spring break. So let's pause this.
Oh, the auto loop button.
Where's that?
The auto loop, the automatic looping button. How did you get it to start again from the beginning?
Here.
It's that one, cycle.
Snap to grid, grid settings, cycle mode. I think it's that one. Yeah, if you click on cycle mode right here, and notice it gets an orange bar up here, what that will do is it'll cycle just this portion of the song.
Oh, okay.
See that? Let's say that you're working on a song and you really want to work on the beginning. and you don't want to kind of play all this stuff over here, I'm turning on the cycle mode. And then notice it's going to get to here and it's going to repeat after 1.
Oh, great.
See that? So that lets you work on certain parts of the song in detail as you're kind of doing your composition.
And I noticed there was a tempo at the bottom of 70 something. I don't see it now. It said tempo. I guess that was the speed.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is play around with some clips first.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do more clips. I'm going to do piano, synth. I'm going to do like rock, pop, hip hop. And then I'll show you how to modify using these down here. But for now, just kind of get used to playing these, listening to them, coming up with combinations you think are interesting, using the loop to stretch this out, or the copy and paste in. If you want, you can cycle in certain parts of it that you want to work on. Okay, I've gone ahead and paused the recording, so take a 5 minutes or so and practice that. And I'll just kind of hang out if you have any questions.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's continue. So one way to start is with the drums and the bass. And then notice you have piano that you can add. And a typical approach is to just kind of build it up layer by layer, starting maybe with drums or bass, and then adding more and more instrumentation as we go. So let's listen to that. Okay. And let's say you don't like that, so just delete it and come down here and check out another. Again, I would choose ones that have multiple patterns or parts to it, so it doesn't get repetitive. Now, one thing I should point out is that notice that these look different. This one and this one look different than this one and this one. These are called MIDI, right? And MIDI are just basically a description of the notes, and then how they sound depends on the instrumentation that you use. So you may find that there are differences between these. Let's play it. Okay, and again, I'm choosing 1, 3, and 7 here, and you get the idea. Let me add now some guitar. I'm deleting the one before it and then choosing guitar, right? And I'm just going to choose a random one down here and just add it here down below. So you can see that I can get a lot of layers going on here. Okay, so you probably noticed that there's a lot going on, and I mean, let me bring this out so I have more. And you may notice that after you get 5 or 6 of these, they're kind of fighting with each other. So at that point, you need to go over here to the automations here, and let's take the automations for the piano, and let's add a volume automation. And you can see that I get this volume control. And what that is the volume. So I can adjust the volume of this thing over time, right? So it starts off loud. And then here, I'm going to add volume control for my guitar. And I'm going to kind of start the guitar off real low and kind of build it up like so. So as the piano is going down, the guitar is going to go up. And these, I think, are all too loud. So I'm just going to turn the volume down on all of them. Okay, let's listen to that. So the volume on the piano is going to start fading. We should start hearing the guitar coming in right about now. Actually, I don't hear the guitar at all. So one other thing you can do is you can turn off this little X here. You can turn off everything. So we can just listen to the guitar. And let's just see what that sounds like on its own, because I couldn't hear it. Okay, that's the guitar just by itself. So that gives you an idea of what that mix will be like. Okay, so I'm going to stop. Go ahead and add in piano and guitar. You can do synth as well, right? This is one way of doing it, where you start with the bass and the drums and the percussion, and you add a bass, and then you start adding in a melody. You can also just start with the melody and then add the percussion in later. You can also start with a genre. You can say, well, I want to do more pop or rock or hip hop. So let's pause just for a second, give you guys a chance to put in some more clips, try adjusting the volumes, okay? Notice there's a volume control here, but if you wanted to adjust the volume to make it fade in or fade out, this is a really nice tool for learning. Many of multimedia tools use these. These are called envelopes for visually looking at the volume and adjusting it as the song progresses. Okay, so practice with that. Practice turning off or muting a track so you can hear individual tracks more clearly. Right. Try the repeat up here, and you can adjust this orange thing so you can just work on this part of the song. So now I'm just going to do this, just this last part here. Oh, I guess it goes for quite a bit longer. Yeah, let's say that we wanted to do just a little bit. Okay, you get the idea. So practice those skills. And then what we'll do is I'll delete everything and we'll start over just using the genres here, and I'll show you how those work. So you get kind of a lot of clips that fit in a particular genre that you're thinking of doing. So play around with that, and I'll just kind of hang out if you have questions. Okay, let's keep going. So I'm going to do a new project. You can keep this, but I'm going to go over here. And by the way you would save this is just do File, Save As, and then you would save it somewhere on I think in your account. But I'm going to do a new project. Just so we can start over completely. I'm going to do a new music project. Okay, I'm going to do add new track, and I'm going to do this time. I'm going to do guitar. Okay, and I'm going to go over here to rock and do a rock guitar, dirty bass. Okay. And add another one there. Okay, so I'm going to add my bass there. And then I'm going to do rock guitar. Okay, let's pause this. So the other way to do this is just start off with the genre that you want to do. So here's an acoustic strum bass. So let's add that there. Let's actually start off with the strumming. Move that to there, play it. Oops. Let's rewind. Start with the guitar strum. I'm just choosing random things. It may not work that well, but you get the idea. I can do, okay. Again, this is a MIDI track, so it's going to be a little bit different the way that it works. And I'll cover that in the next lecture when we get back from the spring break. Okay, so you get the idea. Those are going to be rock and rock clips. Let's delete this. Let's cancel our filtering and let's do pop. Okay, these are going to be more poppy in their outlook. Okay. Okay, and we can do other instruments. We can do, I'm not sure, piano. Okay. Now, once you get all these in here, what you may want to do is adjust the tempo and change the key. So right now, all of these are in the key of D sharp minor, but I can make this a C or a G. Normally, the major keys are happier, right? D, C, E. The minor keys and the sharp keys are going to be more mysterious, more tension, just a completely different feel. If you want your game to be more creepy and mysterious, you probably want to go with a minor key, right? If you want your game to be happy and more happy-go-lucky and not complicated, go with a major key. And you can try this by just, okay, putting out some clips, listening to them, and then change the key and watch how much it changes it. Obviously, these aren't mixed. You'd want to go maybe mix some of these and bring some lower and some higher. But watch what this does when I change it to a C. Adjust it. So the other one was a minor key. This is now a C key. So it's very different. The other one was more mysterious. This one's more happy, easygoing. You can also change the tempo, right? By default, they're at 120 beats per second, but you can change it. This is going to be faster. The faster it is, it definitely changes the feel. Definitely different. More energy, more, you know, it's faster pace, it's more lively. So after you kind of decide on a genre or you have 5 or 6 different clips, try adjusting the key and the tempo, and you'll notice that it will change the overall feel for this quite a bit. Okay. There's even vocals. Notice there's vocals that you could add. Okay, here's the vocals.
Feel the weight of the world weighing heavy on my mind. Feel the weight of the world weighing heavy on my mind.
And again, those are just phrases, so you want to make sure that you mix them up so it's not too repetitive. The danger that you'll run into is it'll get too cluttered, too noisy, or too repetitive. So when we come back from the break, I'll give you some more tips on song structure so that you can avoid some of the common pitfalls. But for now, go ahead and explore how to do the volume, adjust the volume, how to change the key and the tempo, mix different kind of combinations. Do start with the bass and the drums, or maybe do the instrumentation, then add the bass and the drums later. Choose a genre, R&B, rock, hip hop. Okay. Maybe do 3 or 4 of them, like I did, like I showed you, and save them. When you're done, you're going to basically go over here and just file, export. Okay. And I think the best way to do it is MP3. MP3 will go into the Unity application you're going to use to create your game directly, right? Save it, and then later on I'll show you how to add it to your game after we create the game. So you'll probably be creating these for a couple of weeks, right? My subscription, my trial will end after 30 days. So around middle of April, you'll need to get all this done because your subscription will expire, and they'll want you to. You can do a trial yourself, but you'll need to then adjust. Your account will not be working anymore after 30 days. Okay, any questions? I think that's a good introduction. I think you just need to spend some time being creative and trying different stuff. It's pretty straightforward. I've had really good results with this tool. The goal will be just create something that you don't hate, that it's okay to go with your game. And then think about, again, you're going to be creating a game scene, and so you're kind of making a soundtrack for that video game that you're going to be creating, like an intro.
Is this sharing the same characteristics as GarageBand, would you say?
Yep. It's the only reason that I don't use GarageBand is that my students that don't have a Mac do not have GarageBand. But you can also use GarageBand. I used to use GarageBand when I taught this class on campus, and we just used the Macs. I think that it's a little bit more versatile than GarageBand. I think it's a little bit easier to kind of get something that sounds pretty good. But if you're familiar with GarageBand, by all means, you can use that too. The idea is you're just creating a 2-minute or 4-minute, 3-minute song to go along with your game, and then you'll loop it. So, one thing that I forgot to mention is that when you do create these, try to create them in a way that they loop pretty well.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you, and have a good break. And I will see everybody. I'll put up this recording. So over the break, you'll have it. You can kind of work on this over the break if you need to, if you feel you need to catch up. If not, we'll pick up where I left off here, and I'll show you some more skills, and I'll show you some ways to make stuff sound better, some general theory and general practices that are good. And we'll go over song structure too. The song structure will really matter because there's a typical way that modern music is composed that you'll need to have some insights into so you can create something that you'll like better.
Fun lesson.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good break.
There was a little note that said that they wanted the sound, what's this called again?
SoundTrap.
Yeah, needs a credit card by 3/18 in order to get the full 30-day trial.
Oh, for me, right?
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. I haven't given my credit card yet. All right. Talk to you later.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.